Look the other way. Look the other way. Look the other way.
Someone lost their internet, I believe. Are we live? I can't see it on
Yeah,
my YouTube.
like I said, it's clunky. I did it all clunky.
Yeah, but is it live? Because my YouTube hasn't started playing yet.
Really? This is
Yeah.
this is what I say. This is
Oh,
why.
it says it's. Yeah, I can see myself waving now. Everything is a-okay.
Baker!
Aussie! Aussie,
when
Aussie,
we
Aussie. Oi,
when
oi,
we play
oi.
it back, I'll bet $100 that that music clip's not in there. It's the delay portion, and I think it fluctuates because my internet isn't great. So one day it'll be super duper fast, and so it'll be a low delay. But other days I'm super duper slow. It'll be a longer delay. But anyway, how are you, Baker?
Well, talking about internet, I am better now than I was 5 hours ago.
You sure of it? That
Yeah,
was
dropping a stream when you have 500 live viewers is kind of it hurts a creator. We
it
really want to
does.
perform, but no.
You should have handed over to Jamie to continue reading the documents because her connection was perfect.
But Jamie can't. Jamie doesn't do that. That's
Well, she
one of the
doesn't
rules Jamie and
like
I have. I do all the stuff, and Jamie bashes the eyelids.
oh.
It's
Well, she has beautiful eyelashes to battle, so I
yeah.
get it.
And
Fair
and
enough.
and this rule, it's not on my channel because I'm not live streaming this. This is only for Aussie, so it's not on my channel. It's
Yeah, I
just
would like to have actually set it up so you could, but I have to actually pay
no,
the pro version so that you could do that.
no,
It's
no, no,
really
no, no. Let's get you some views. You know, you never do live shows, so let's dance.
let's dance. All right. So, before we kick off, I just want to announce our winner for the identify the font challenge. But I was just a bit worried if I announced it too early, they might not be in the chat. But we'll go ahead and do it because I'm going to back it up with some other stuff, probably another upload a little bit later. So let me just share my screen and show people who the winner was. Share that. So there you go. Gimbal B. Guess the font. And the
I
font.
know what the problem is. Sorry, it's because I shared the other. You have two streams set up, so
Oh,
you
no.
have
Boy.
so you have
Uh,
one that the one you sent me this morning was the one that I couldn't see live, and then I plugged back, and you have something called Aussie Insider and Broken Baker Unplugged. That
uh,
wasn't the name you had, but I'm
it,
going to share this link too.
yeah, sorry. I don't. They changed
Don't
stuff
worry about
around.
it.
They changed stuff around at the back end, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time since they changed it all around. I thought I did have it connected to the right stream.
Yeah, especially if any of my viewers want to come listen.
Right. So, apologies to everybody that went to the other stream. That's my bad. Technical issues are abundant sometimes. um,
Make sure if you have this, just share it as a community note that you are on this one, because maybe someone is stuck in the old one and thinks, "Oh my God, when is she starting?"
yeah, that's a good point. Let's go over there and do that while you
I'm smart.
entertain for me for 1 second.
Well, welcome all to this. I won't call it interesting because it's actually quite heinous, because we're going to talk about the Sarah Birchmore case. And I listened to the intro stream that Aussie made about it, where she said she couldn't read the papers in the affidavit. The charging document is bad, but it's okay to read. But the underlying affidavit from, and I can't pronounce that female officer's name, is probably the 45 worst pages I have read in um, in my YouTube illustrious career.
Wow,
Uh,
that's saying something.
yeah, we'll probably dip into some of it. We won't go into all of the details. It took me 6 days to have my stream not demonetized or halfway restricted. But this case is, again, I learned this from Mark yesterday. I have to say, allegedly, what he did is so heinous, and I'm just I'm reading findings from the internal affair the MSP did in I can't remember when was it. It's that was made back in February of 2021, where they know everything that the feds knows. They know everything about the illicit relationships between them, and they didn't find any reason to charge anyone. They got chucked out of the police force, but they just let it slide. And again, this is what he did. I still haven't found a good word for the G word. That I don't know if it's YouTube friendly to say rooming, but let's call it rooming. Rooming a 13-year-old girl that he was given access to via a police program that should teach young people about how you should trust the police, how police should be, how 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 to become a cop, and what he used that for. And that's a we'll probably breach that topic again because that's one of those things that really irks my bone. Um,
Yeah,
how many other were in that program, and how many of those got special attention from these officers? Remember, it's not just Farwell; it's also his brother and Divine, who was as I understand it, the head of the police volunteer program. All of them have, in some way or fashion, had inappropriate relations with Sandra Birchmore. And in my opinion, where there's smoke, there's fire. It's not just one person. If you have those I can't say that word. If you like that kind of thing, you don't only do it once. You don't only do it to one person, even though they passed her around. Um, I how the MSP haven't canvassed the streets of Canton to see if there's more out there after finding out 3 officers, at least 3 officers was
right.
in on this. That's one of my really, really big problems.
Well, I think that there's some more indictments coming, like just listening to Betero talk on the subject on your channel, and I forget where else. I think it was Kim's channel. He was saying that like right now, they just want to get the main offender who killed her, and they've got him. They mainly had that for the federal stuff that he did wrong, but what they'll do now is that they'll come in behind that with the superseding indictments, not just against him but the other members as well. But they needed to do that initial step first, I think.
Yeah, you can also look at it. Will he be the straw that breaks the camel's back? And that leads us to the other question, because there's no question in our minds, I believe. I'm going to talk on your behalf. Jess, why did you make me flip the camera? Now I'm getting confused watching me doing the wrong stuff. But
Who made you flip it?
Jess said I'm inverted, so I'm just playing a Sallyport video. But
I can see the writing on the wall behind you, and it's all the right way. Did you just flip
yeah,
it?
but I flipped the camera, so when I see my feet, it's the opposite way around now.
Oh, so that's
But
confusing.
yeah, it's very confusing sitting here waving my right arm, and it looks like the left when I look into the camera. But I'll figure it out. But no, there's no doubt in my mind. I'm of the belief this case was the predecessor to the feds looking into the Karen Reed case. I am 100% sure Karen Reed didn't start the FBI involvement in this.
Mm-mm. I agree. I had always said they were looking at the Birchmore case, and because of all the players in common, they tripped over the Karen Reed case.
Yeah. And again, I know there's a lot of people out there who want to say, well, John was on the SMEX offender unit. Again,
Yeah,
no evidence of
there's no
any.
evidence in any of that. I agree with you with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the biggest problem I think we as creators has to do is try to keep the, what is it called, the wheat from the chaff, because there's so many rumors going on about these cases. This guy did this and that guy did that, and I heard some guy down at the bar. So I don't think John has anything to do with the Birchmore case. He's a Boston PD officer. This looks to be Canton PD only, as far as I have seen the players in this game, which is bad enough. I don't need to make the conspiracy larger, but I just feel that this was what got them to look at Canton. And when they looked at Canton, they looked at Trooper Garino. And when they found out that guy couldn't find 37,000 text messages,
Yeah.
they probably looked a little bit more into his cases. And then 3,600 pages given to the defense, Levy contacting or writing a piece of paper saying we don't agree with the DA's office in the findings in the case, which is totally unheard of.
Right. But it seems to be that's the common element, isn't it? It's always DA Morrissey's office. So I don't know who. So that post I put up today. Let me just go back to this comment. So this Patrick M. Rose Sr., the former president of the Boston Police Patrolmen's Association and Boston PD detective. I forget whose office that was. I don't think that was Morrissey's office, but this is one of the cases that is not connected to Morrissey's office. But I wouldn't mind betting if someone starts digging, they're going to find connections to Morrissey.
Yeah, this isn't over, and they said it. We are looking at multiple cases. We have the Birchmore trial, and then we have, and I'm so sorry I can't remember his name, the guy who had a BB gun, BB pew pew, who the cops went a little ham on. He might not have been the best person, but still.
Justin Root.
Yeah. What was it? 16 new holes in his body?
It was shocking.
Yeah.
I posted about it very early in the piece, like way back at the start. And I don't know, people were like abusing me. Oh, he had a gun. And I'm like, no, he didn't. Didn't he have a paintball gun?
He had a BB.
A BB.
But again, it can look real. And I've been deployed. I have had situations where I've had to act on where it's not the automatic function. It's not a you just
You think
because you
it's a
don't
gun,
know.
so you react.
Yeah. So
But see, I even have a problem with that because there's some kids' toys that look an awful lot like real shit.
yep, that's why they have the rules are now that there must be a red I believe it's a red or orange plug in the barrel, so it's clearly defined as a toy. We just had one 2 days ago bringing an airsoft gun, and he painted over that orange thing because he wanted it to look real. Brought it on a train,
Oh no.
so
And,
that's not a good.
and so people like that are just putting other people in danger and enjoying it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and again, just because you want to be tough, come on now,
Yeah.
and
I
it's
don't think that Justin Root was carrying the BB gun for any of those reasons though. I think he was having a mental episode,
yeah.
just from what I read in the I still only have briefed over the documents, but I think it's one of his family members who has the Twitter account that's doing the justice for Justin Root. I think it's one of his family members. Well, that's where
Yeah,
I sort of read over the document, sort of the basic sort of story. I followed the link to their website. And so it sounds to me like, yeah, he was having a mental episode. He was already on the ground and they sunk him full of bullets.
yeah. That's what I gather was the big problem is if he's down, then they have to, and they don't have body cams. Remember, they have 50,000 to a new to pay for a new kitchen, but they can't pay for body cams. So they can always say, "Well, he was reaching for it."
We
That's
kind of
so
switched
easy.
the topic up on you, Jess. We were talking about that Patrick guy, but then we switched to Justin Reed. Sorry.
Yeah, it's squirrel time.
Yeah, we got squirrels. Yeah. So and I believe that some of the same officers involved in the Justin Root case too, isn't it?
I'm not that familiar with it. I have to say, it's just just trying to put these two together, where you have Lank, you have Mister I forget my pew pew when I'm drinking. All of these people, you have DA Morris's office not finding any evidence of wrongdoing. Again, you're just sitting here one more time thinking, is this just copland? Is it really? Is this what the citizens in Massachusetts have to live with? This is the way
Right.
you treat people, and you have that Fanning guy. And did you find it weird that he was almost cleared when we heard back in July that him and um, what's his name? What's their name? Bukaknik and who's the other guy who was under investigation? Tully and
Tully,
Bukaknik and
big,
and uh, and Fanning
yeah,
were all under internal investigation, and Fanning was cleared.
yeah.
He's the guy who was in charge of the jury, and he's also connected to the Birchmore trial.
Here you go. Look, Karen's onto it. Thanks, mate. Lank,
Yeah,
Albert, and Guarino.
yeah, but you also have Fanning was also a part of it, and and again, how I know it's a small town, and until John O'Keefe's death by Karen, they hadn't had a murder in, what was it, 14 years? No, because you don't look for them. You only
Yep,
look for it when you have to protect your friends.
yep, absolutely. So I just need to finish the announcement that
Sorry.
I sidetracked to get everyone
Absolutely.
over to this link, but let me interrupt you for just a second. Back to the announcement that Gimbal got right. This is Helvetica bold, and the photograph is slightly tilted, so you can just see in the background here the shadow of it being slightly tilted, but it matches Verdana bold. Sorry, not Verdana, Helvetica, and it's bolded, and it's No, there's no spacing or for some reason the word just the other word.
And now she lost her connection. Then it's time for me to take over again and talk until she gets her internet connection again. Everything she said could just as well be Latin to me. I don't understand fonts, but
Yeah.
she's back.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
I'm talking. So
kerning was the other word I was looking for. There's no spacing or kerning. It's just straight out Helvetica bold. And Gimbal was the first one to guess it. So I just wanted to do that because people are asking, wait, what was the font? You didn't get to the font. And that's the font. So you can all go do your own tests now. Like I said, it's pretty much the default spacing that comes with the font. So back to Baker's summary of. Well, we haven't actually started it yet. On to Baker's summary of the federal indictment. So there was some pretty sick shit that I was reading, and I couldn't read it. It was disturbing to read. I needed
yeah,
adult supervision for my brain, and so I came over to your channel and I tuned in to you reading it, which was absolutely way better than letting my brain do its own thing. So I thought that that's probably the kindest way to let people sort of, if they want to read the documents along with you, go over to Baker's channel. I've put that in the link of the other video. Whoops. But he's read the entire document, but we're not going to do that today. We're just going to summarize what he recalls, the things that stood out for him, and we're going to try and do it in a YouTube friendly way, which is really, really hard because this is just one of those topics.
I was struggling so much with all the words I had to use because I'm a cold-hearted bastard. If you didn't know, I've seen a few things in my life. I was deployed. Part of being deployed is they're fond of showing you videos of what you can expect out there. Not nice things. I've been doing jury duty for 13 years now. I've sat through cases where I'm yeah, where you think, how can someone do this to someone else? But this is probably the worst thing I've ever read because all of it starts when she's 13 years old, and
Right.
that's my biggest problem. Is she's 13 years old when it starts, and some of the things this man writes to her later. Um, I have two kids, both of them female. When I read that, as I said to my chat, I want a small room, a hammer, a gallon of gas, and
Yeah,
a match.
for sure. And I felt the
Because
same way.
I felt dirty when I read it. I when I was done, I went saw some TV, and then I just went into my room, pulled the blinds down, and just closed my eyes and lay there, listened to something. I don't know how graphic you want to go into what's in it, or you just want to skip about it and we just say he was really bad to her. Do you want to have some of the contents in the text messages? I don't know how far you want to go.
Right. Uh, I'm happy with whatever you're happy with.
Well,
Um,
I'm happy with it. And everything. Well, starting off, they strike up a friendship relationship when she is in that partner program, and I see it kind of like, the old I'm in love with the teacher kind of thing that teenage girls sometimes have, and teachers know, don't act on this one because it's just a phase they're going through. This guy didn't. Then he started helping her with her homework. And when she was 15, he deflowered the rose. And in their conversations, he multiple times reminiscent about it and said, I just wished I had known earlier so I could have done it a year before. Everyone under 16 in Massachusetts, no matter what relationship you have with them, it's statutory rape. So the first time, or every time till she turned 16, would automatically have been statutory rape, no matter if I'm in love with him, no matter. Then he puts the screws on. In the affidavit, there's not much about the other players. I know there's other players, his twin brother, Divine, all of those, but in the affidavit, it's only centered around him.
Mm.
The way he communicates with her is horrendous about punishment she's going to receive, and it's always some kind of sexual violence or deprivation of air. He has a big interest. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the worst part is, and that's sadly what we see a lot with grooming victims, she believes or she accepts that's the way it is. And she's still, you can read it in the text, and that's the part that just hurts my soul. She's in love in that weird way, Stockholm syndrome way. She's so infatuated by this man, where you're just sitting there thinking, but sweet girl, this
Yeah.
man is ruining your life. This man is this man is. Can I do that? Yes, I can. Then I can. I lost my chat, so I'm just going to put YouTube chat over here so I can see it. But you can just see, because till the day of the unaliving, she's still wanting that happy mom, dad, kid, house, car, dog dream. It escalates all the way through, and in that period, there have been others that have done stuff to her. But again, it's a continuous. He everything you read is textbook. If you ever took a psych class and you read about narcissists and psychopaths, the way they treat their loved ones,
Yeah.
everything is just in this. Give me your phone so I know exactly where you are. You didn't show me where you were yesterday. I'm gonna punish you. And and he'll tell her what he'll do to you. You won't walk for days after this. It's you. I just want to scream, and I want to now again. I just want to go take a shower. It's it's
It's
so bad.
it's yeah. Yep.
It's
There was some things in the text exchanges that that I found particularly disturbing, because I could see his manipulation tactics and I could see her bending to them. So um, I think, like for me personally, that being in those situations myself, like I can see it. I couldn't when I was in them. These things they took me years to understand and accept, and a lot of therapy. But um, now I'm at the other end. I can see them and I can recognize them straight away. And she was falling for it every time. She was falling for it. She thought she had some kind of power over him,
yes, and
and
that's the first mistake when you're acting with, because when you're with a person with his personality, I don't know anything. I'm not a psychologist. YouTube, you're always playing with TNT.
yeah, totally.
It'll blow up at some point. You don't know when, you don't know how, but you can also hear that in some of the things he did to her when she didn't comply with his rules. He would be physical. He would put her on ice for a period. But again, she had been brought up in this sick illusion of this is love, and that's how rooming works. This is I know they say Stockholm syndrome isn't a real thing, but uh, she believed this is how it should be,
Wait,
and
who
I
says
think
that? Who says that
well,
syndrome's not a real thing?
Stockholm syndrome has been kind of debunked that you don't fall in love when you're, but again, uh, you know about the psychology. They change every day.
They
But
change all the time. Would like I get the idea that they might have disassociated the actual Stockholm incident from what we're talking about. I get that, but the amount of women who stay in relationships like this is ridiculous, and they don't realize that they're in an abusive relationship. I can name one straight up, which I won't because I don't want to publicly embarrass anybody. But I'm very, very close to someone who doesn't realize that they're in one of those relationships. But how do you tell that person?
but
How else? How do
but
you?
you can't tell them because
No, you
it's
can't.
how many and again, I want to be an advocate for men's victims as well, because there's a lot of people out there don't believing men can be victims. We saw it in the JDAH case where, well, he's a man. How many men is also suffering from that? But what I'm always seeing, I had a lot of I'm an older guy. I've been through a few things in my life, and I've seen so many girls, wonderful, smart, beautiful women, and they go from the guy who only punches me when he's drunk, straight to the guy who only punches me when he's high, to a guy who only punches me when he's drunk, because they have some kind of thing in their head where they believe these. That's what we always say. The good guy never gets the girl. It's always the bad guy because they kind of want the danger. But these women can't see, okay, now it's time to settle down. I need a guy who's reasonable, reasonable to live with. And men do it too. Uh, we go back to women who treat us like crap, even though we've been treated like crap in an old relationship. And I think it's because somewhere along the way you thought this was love, and you've been led to believe it must be like that. And the thing is, when she's asking how she's gonna be punished because he have made her believe this is your fault.
That's
You
right.
did this.
And
I don't want to do this.
that's a
It's your
typical
fault.
narcissist approach to things as well, which I noticed in a lot of different cases that we're looking at. The reversal of what's called Darwin. So you know what that means. But yeah, that reversal of victim and offender, like you're the offender, not me, you are. And
Yeah, if you had just walked away, I told you go away from me, but you didn't. I had to do it to you. I told you. You kept saying stuff to me.
yeah,
I had to do it.
yeah,
That's one of the most hit when we have those cases. And the worst thing is, it's the guy or girl who does it believe they also love the person they do it to, but they don't understand, because they just think this is because I love you so much. I have to do this.
yeah. I love you so much, I have to hurt you.
Yeah, because you won't listen to me. I had a guy who first, while his wife was breastfeeding, he just started going to town on her
Oh
because
my
she couldn't
god.
do anything. Then his stepdaughter tried to help him. He just chucked her down a stair, and then he went on to town on her boyfriend, and he was sitting there crying and couldn't understand why he was on trial, because he was just trying to save his marriage.
Yeah, yeah, I get I get so cranky with people who just can't see what they're doing. You know, it makes me angry. But back to what I was saying
Sorry,
before,
yeah, I was moving along
I
as
was
always.
well and truly, divorced, I guess, for 10 years before I realized that how toxic that relationship was. And there was stuff going on in that relationship that I never considered to be abuse. It was, like I said, a good 10 years later before I went, well, you know what? That was abuse. Now that I can see it. But when I was in it and for a long time afterwards, I couldn't see it as abuse. So I understand completely how that can happen where you don't, it doesn't register, I guess, that it's at a certain level. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so a lot of a lot of abusers like will keep it below a certain level because that's part of the manipulation. So he knew that if he just started bashing me outright, that was going to be seen as abuse. He would be the bad guy. He knew that that level was out of the picture. And so there was all these lower levels. There was, grabbing me and, shoving and drinking and just all the stupidity that goes with it. So, um, and so I kind of saw that with Farwell's manipulation as well, like just keeping it below a certain level. Like you could see he was fantasizing going above that level,
Yeah,
but manipulate her, he was keeping it below a certain level.
that's why, and I said this yesterday. Reading that text, I would be canvassing the streets, especially for very young lady of payable affection. I bet you this man has been out there and done some really, really twisted stuff.
Yeah, I'm not going to be surprised if they find some bodies.
Uh, at least someone who have. I hate talking about this case because we're going to talk about some things that's going to make me so angry. But we all know that one of the easiest ways, if you are unlucky enough to get a substance abuse problem, to finance that for especially women, is become a lady of the night. I bet you, as he's rolling around as a police officer, he knows who he can grab off the street, who will always have paraphernalia or something, and can
Yeah.
say, okay, 15 minutes of something, and this goes away. I bet you he has used his power. People was saying when I read it, saying he's probably done this to his wife. I think he has never done anything like this at all. He might have slapped her a little bit in the butt or pulled her hair, but when he's at home, I'll bet you he is the John Wayne Gacy. He's the perfect husband. He takes his kids to Little League. He
Yeah.
is the
I was
most
saying the
wonderful
same
person
thing.
in the world. He's
Yeah.
probably he's probably volunteering for either Little League or church.
And then playing out his fantasies with the
Yeah,
vulnerable people. Yeah.
yeah. Because he knows if he goes to a lady of payable pleasure and say, "Do you want to spend another week without any substance to take away your cravings?" We all know what happens to people when they detox. That's not fun. That's that is actually why most people stay abusing substances, is because they don't get high anymore. They just don't want to get low.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he works as a police officer, they know where everyone is because that's their job. I bet you out there he has done this, and he's done this for 15 years. As long as he's been a police officer, I
Right. The
think
way
he's
the way he was tracking her, I mean, that was definitely police officer bullshit. Like he knew where she was all the time. And if she turned her phone off, he knew. That's
yeah,
definitely police officer bull. I mean, I know there's partners that do that outside of police officers, but he had the resources basically.
and also he has, but I don't think again it's police officer. I think that's as we talked about, it's the control,
Yeah.
because he knowing that he can tell her Oh, she's at Duncan right now. I can show her. Stay at that Duncan. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Oh, he knows where I am the entire time. That'll work better on him than a Viagra. Just to
Yeah,
know I can control her life. I have this poor young thing, especially we all seen the pictures. She looks really young.
she
She
was
looks
like, even when she was 23, she still looked young.
yeah,
Just, yeah.
and that's I bet you that was the best thing for him was all the control. I think he liked to go to excesses, and that's what he did. We know from the text about uh,
Yeah,
uh,
act like I'm going to assault you. That was one of his biggest things in the text, wasn't it?
his constant obsession about her being 13, acting 13, make him take it. It's just horrendous. And I don't know what that Aesop fable is on about echo chambers, but he was in my chat yesterday, and I saw him in another chat today. Seems like one of those people who just come in and chat and tries to stir something. But
He's
uh,
gone now. I blocked him. Uh, so if you're behind in the chat, you probably can still see him. Just ignore it. He's gone. I've put him in the hide from this channel bin, and my son is watching the chat as well. So if you're behind in the stream, just ignore it.
yeah, it's just why. I saw his opening statement was, but Sandra wanted that kid. Yeah, so what? She really wanted, but she was misled to
And your
believe.
point is,
Yeah, she was misled to believe your life is with this guy. This guy is the man for you because he had groomed her entire life.
yeah,
If you sit there in any way and want to say that woman did it to herself, I can't tell you how many catapults into the sunlight you need, because then you're a sick, twisted SOB. If that's how you look at this, if you see any other thing, and yes, I know you made a video about someone saying, well, she blackmailed him. On the surface, yes, she did. She said, I want this from you now. That's blackmail, fair and square. But again, it's a quid pro quo. That's the only power she had on him was, I'm going to tell your wife. And she wanted a relationship with the man who had taught her to love him unconditionally since she was 13 years old. If you want to put any blame on her, no matter if she blackmailed him or led him on or anything, if you are a 27, 20, 37-year-old man and thinks, well, I'm just a man, I can't do nothing. If you have that feeling, go find a cheese grater and fix your 3-inch problem because you're a sick, twisted person. And I hate people like that. As a father of 2 girls, again,
yeah.
Mr. Chippy would have work to do. Sorry, rant over.
That's okay. We're still trying to work out how come some people can see Aesop's fables and others can't. So, ramble away.
Yeah, but it's just I just hate this victim blaming in this case, and we see it in so many cases where, and again, most of the cases we see, it's the woman who's the victim, because men, on a whole, normally don't come forward when
Yeah,
we
that's
are abused, because again, it's hard being a man, but there's a lot of people sitting there. It's kind of like she shouldn't have worn that dress. Why? If you can't handle seeing a woman in that dress, you shouldn't go outside.
yeah. So, But there was something I was talking about today. So I'm trying to multitask. I'm not doing a very good job at it, am I? There was
Oh,
something I was talking about today about that. It's the victim shaming. Like if you dress a certain way, then oh, you must deserve it or whatever. It's kind of that attitude, isn't it?
yeah, and that's and Liza. No, no one is blaming Sandra. Not at all. I'm just saying if you feel any proclivity to do that, Mr. Chippy should have a talk with you. Um,
The
and if you
fact
don't know who Mr. Chippy is, go to Mo's channel. She talks about him a lot.
just to clear that up with people, there's no accusation that anyone's specifically blaming Sandra. We're just
No,
discussing the victim blaming as a topic, okay? So we're not really pointing fingers at anybody. So
yeah, and but it's again, it's there will always be those people who said, well, it's the kind of the same when all. Let's switch it because how many female teachers have we heard about the last year who did things to young men? And what is the standard line always when you see one of those teachers? Well, if I was 15, I wouldn't mind her rooming me. Doesn't matter if you're a 25-year-old married woman or a 35-year-old married woman who thinks, "Oh, I'm going to be a school teacher because I like him young." You too can run right into the sun. But again, oh, it's a male victim. He'd like it. No, he's going to be just as ruined as Sandra was, but we just don't talk about it. So I hate this mentality that, well, they probably liked it. She liked it if you read the text. Oh, I wish you had done it sooner. I'm happy that I skipped prom night. But I think I'm actually, how I construed it out of the text, it happened on her prom night she didn't go to.
yeah, yeah,
And um, yeah, and she believed it was love. And that's the sick part because the victim will blame themselves. That happens with grown-ups too. I could just have kept my mouth shut. I could just have let her spend the money on that. I could just have let him go out drinking with his buddies.
yeah,
So don't put any blame on her because she didn't know better. She lost her mom young, I believe it was
yeah.
2016. So
And
a
a
few years,
grandmother, I think, in the same year.
yeah, and I don't know. My snoops have been trying to figure out if there's a dad in the picture, but we can't find any dad. So again, she was super vulnerable in some of the most formative years in her life. And this guy was just a predator.
Yeah, yeah. He did Lisa M, but we're not pointing fingers, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Plevin said the other day that words is worse than unaliving.
Yes, he did. He's he's said a lot of things where I slap my face. So, I don't know where that guy's brain is. I've stopped following anything that he says. If I see something that he has said, it's because someone has posted it on Twitter or X. So I don't actually watch his channel and go looking for things that he says.
Now he just pops up because we're covering Karen Reed so much. So the algorithm feeds it to us. So I see him way too much. Him, Coffin Daffer, and Wendy Murphy.
You see, I don't see any of their channels at all.
Oh,
So, and I'm searching Karen Reed stuff all the time, so I don't know what that's about.
they might have blocked you then or something.
Well, on Twitter they probably have, but I don't know. I don't think they have on YouTube because I've never been to any of their channels. So, although you just have to type what Karen was just saying. You don't actually just to answer your question, Karen. I keep thinking Carol because your last name's Cole, but Karen. I typed Aesop's Fables into my channel, and yeah, it's not showing up. So at the back end. So I don't know how other people are seeing him when I've put him in the
I
naughty bin.
haven't seen him since you said you blocked him.
Yeah.
So it can just be because it was already loaded into chat, but normally chat will block it out.
Yeah. I think
But
we got it. So
but it's one of those people who just come around. There was 5 people who came around in every Karen Read stream we did and said the same thing. And this is just someone, I don't even think they believe what they say. They just want the engagement because they live sad, lonely lives in a basement. And if I just go into a chat with 300 people and say something utterly stupid, my engagement, people will notice me. ASAP will be the name. I wish I could discuss this on my channel. Go make your channel, say all you want about it. No
yeah,
one's stopping. Don't
exactly.
come take over our channels.
Go make your own fun. No, I
Yeah.
think they do it deliberately because it upsets people, and I think that if you just ignore them and you don't get upset, then it loses its impact. But as soon as everyone's jumping up and down about it, it has impact again. So the best way to deal with a troll is to ignore them. So you all have, if everybody in the chat, if there's someone annoying you, you just click on their name and a little menu, a little 3 dots shows up. You can click on that and you can silence them. So people who use caps lock, everything they type is all in caps. I'll ask them not to type in caps. Don't yell at us. Please stop yelling at us. And then I will stick them in the silence bin. So if I'm on someone else's channel, I would just click their name and what's the... I'm only seeing I think it's block the user on YouTube or something like that. I'm only seeing mod bloody tools here, so
I'm yeah, I can but I have standard rules for mine. If they come in start doing that, one of the mods will say, please don't yell in chat. There's great success. He he hasn't been around. He got mad during one of the trials. I think they can read trials because I didn't agree with him. Fine, he'll hopefully come back. He's always yelling in chat, and he got a special yell pass. But if people come in, Marissa, Jamie, Irish, or Jody, Jocelyn. Sorry, today she's Jocelyn. Jocelyn will tell them no yelling chat. If they keep doing it, stop or you'll get a timeout. Because I hardly ever block people. I'll just time them out.
yeah.
Because then they'll go away. It's go away, get a cookie, and hate watching is working just as fine.
Yeah, exactly. So I mostly leave it up to the chatters to, to work it out themselves. So, but when you explain to them how they can do it, they can choose. If you're not going to do it on your channel, give them the option to at least know that they can do it themselves if someone's annoying.
Yeah, I do that because when people get to sometimes they get in a little argument, and I say instead of coming here yelling and say I should do something about it, just block the user so you can't see him, and I'll watch all chat go by and think, oh, but I'm not the daycare teacher. People are grown-ups.
That's right.
Treat each other with respect, and if you don't like who are we going to pick on? We're going to pick on Jocelyn. Jocelyn is Jedi Jess. I make her name change every now and again. Jocelyn is saying to Marissa, "Hey girl, you call them jeans slim? Well, if you put it on a tractor, it'll probably look slim." Then Marissa can choose to say, "I'm gonna knife a B word," or "I'm just gonna hit the 3 dots and say I can't see her anymore," and I just put it that way.
All
Because
right. So
people are grown
enough
ups.
about the
Yeah.
trolls and the plebans out there, because they're just annoying the crap out of me today. I had to laugh at Bedrose last comment. I had to laugh at Bedrose comment on TV's photo. So Turtle Boy got a photo today of him and Karen and Bill and his girlfriend. And Bettero wrote something along the lines of, well, that's going to make the McAlbert council trip out.
Yeah.
It's going to make them all angry. And so I wrote, grr. But yeah, I thought it was pretty funny because it does. Like, they're just the littlest thing just trips them out. You know, there's a photo of, I don't know who put the mug shot out of Karen, but someone put the mug shot out and they all lost their fucking minds over it.
The one who put wrinkles on it. I don't think it's the best picture of Karen. And Karen has, don't take this, and I'm going to be called a misogynist again. Don't take it the wrong way. She has kind of a resting bee face.
Yes,
And
she
she
does.
can't help it. It's just the way she looks. But when she smiles, she's beautiful. But when she's sitting there thinking, yeah, it's I have hamster cheeks. I could just lose some weight. But she's just sitting there. Her face kind of goes a little bit, and the way it's filmed a little bit from below, she just looks snooty. Like, I'm better than you. You don't have to put wrinkles on it. You can do a lot of graphics with all of that. You They are so unimaginative. They are so stupid. It's the same. I don't know if you follow Carrie. Carrie does true crime. Carrie reads true crime. I can't remember her name. She's always on Twit and entertaining me a lot. And someone had photoshopped something, and I said, "Is that the best you can do?" And then 5 minutes on Canva, and I had given her a little bear nose and some ears and a new dress. It's not that hard. Come on,
Yeah.
do better. Make it funny.
Right. Yeah.
But
Well, you know, I think our side are just as bad. Like, everyone went off with the Jill Daniels pictures. There was some funny drawings of Jill Daniels. Some of that.
and she's gone again. On to Baker's. Talk about nothing. Who is having to say something about Hans Christian Andersen to me? I don't know. Uh, oh, you're back again.
I'm back.
And
So,
no, but it's just I don't get this anger, and I don't get how they can switch because I'm effing angry about talking about Sandra Birchmore, which I feel is warranted because I read what they did, but um, how they can switch from in one case you can't trust the feds, cops are great. The next case, oh, the cops are really bad, trust the feds.
yeah.
It's that cognitive dissonance that you can't. I really can't. Why can't they see? Massachusetts has a massive problem. They have friends protecting friends. They have a DA's office who got. I have I have a 60-page report on the findings in this case from August 2022 with so much redacted stuff in it because it's sexual activities that I can't hardly read it. Why hasn't anyone been charged? Yeah, they got sent home, got a pension, bye bye, take a cookie. Why can't these people see? And I don't care if you like Karen Reed or not. Uh, physically, physics shows she didn't do it, but you can be an idiot if you believe Trooper Paul. But why can't they see, even though you think Karen Reed did it, there is such a big problem in the Canton PD, in the MSP, and in the DA's office in Stoughton. I really can't understand why they can sit there and fight for people who are this bad. As I always say, the fist rot from the head. We're sitting here talking about Matthew Farwell. That's the guy who caught the flag this time. Robert Devine, William Farwell.
They're going
How
down.
much did they do?
They're going down. Don't you worry. Because,
Well,
like, I understood where Betterow was coming from when he was talking about that. He might not have gone into it in as much detail on your channel, but he certainly addressed it on Nurse Kim's channel, and that was that there's levels of seriousness that went on, but it's all serious. But obviously, the murder part is top of that list. And so they're going to chip away at that one at a time. I don't think at I don't think they're going to be using Matthew Farwell as a cough up some goods on the others and we'll make a deal with you. I don't think they're going to do that because he's the one that committed the most serious offense. He committed murder. But I think they will go after the other guys. This is going to be a procedural thing where you get Matthew, all the evidence that you can on Matthew, you start building that case to prosecute him. All the other evidence comes forward from that. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes, so that's where we kind of started off. It's the straw that's going to break the camel's back, because sexual assault should be on the table for both Robert and William Farrell. But again, I think that's kind of what Levy was alluding to with the more cases and our work with the MSP, because Morrissey must also be sitting sweating, not just because he's a fat SOB, but
Meatball.
yeah, but because the spotlight has been turned on his office. Now, this is the first thing. He saw it in the Karen Reed case. They could kind of hide most of it because they had a good judge. Well, good for them, judge, not good judge. But now, one of his close guys got snatched up. His worker, who he promoted to his office as an investigator, Trooper Garino, the guy who, even though he had full access to Sandra Birchmore's electronic devices, found no evidence of anything. And the feds found 37,000 text messages, pictures, whatever, between them.
I saw a sign carried by one of the protesters today that was like, "There's too many mistakes for it to be mistakes," and I
Yeah,
agree with that entirely.
that's what I said yesterday. When is it too much to be incompetence?
Yeah, and
And
I can't remember who I was watching. Somebody was calling it, and that was one of the lawyers. I think it was actually Andrea Burkhart was calling it weaponized incompetence, which I kind of agreed with, like using the farce of incompetence to make it look like it was incompetence, but they're basically weaponizing it. So I
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
agreed with that.
they use incompetence as a, oh, we did look for it, we saw nothing. It's the same with the Sally Port. Why didn't you tell the Sally Port video was flipped? Oh, it was clear it was flipped, and we didn't notice. No, that's beyond stupid to not. Also, that explanation. Well, it's just flipped. It doesn't change anything. It absolutely changes everything, because you don't think about it when you watch it as a juror. You just think, oh, the car. You don't think the driver got out on the wrong side. You're just thinking, oh yeah, I can clearly see something's wrong with that. Plevin said it. I can see the tail light missing, and why haven't everyone? I put up a poll yesterday. How many of the witnesses from the first trial will still be working for the MSP when this is done? When they go back for trial 2, I still don't believe there will be a trial 2. I believe some Friday night, when there's a big commotion going on, or maybe an election night, they'll leak it. Oh, we are dropping the charges or something like that to hide it in another big news story. But if it goes to trial in January 25th, 27th, if it goes to trial January 27th, how many? The lead investigator is now gone. Gorini is so heavily damaged by the Sarah Birchmore trial, which they now can bring into the trial. Bev tried. Do you remember them saying, "Did you miss 32,000 text in another case?" And Bev shut it down right away.
Yep,
And I
yep.
was thinking, what are they talking about? Because I didn't know the Sarah Birchmore trial at that point, and we didn't hear anything about those 32,000. So how did Alan Jackson know? Again, someone out there was helping Karen Reed uh, with all the stuff they have given to the defense. But you can't bring Guarini back because he's too. You have to have a new guy do the tech. You can't bring Trooper Paul back because he's a raving lunatic, and they will now have the ARCA guys to talk to before he takes the stand to do the testimony.
Yep, yep.
Bukaknik is still being investigated internally.
And you know what bugs me about that is that he's still being investigated internally, but he's still trying to turn up dirt on Turtle Boy. Like he's out there pounding the streets day in and day out, still trying to turn up dirt on Turtle Boy. I mean, how does he think that that's going to save him? He's obviously doing it because he thinks it's going to save him, but how?
Because good old boys.
The good old boys. Same bullshit. Different
like
fucking.
like Mike was talking about yesterday, all of them is second, third, fourth generation cops. It's Copland, the Stallone movie. That's Boston Copland. That's that area. Your uncle used to work with this guy's cousin, who used to work with the lawyers.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. We were talking about this on your channel, weren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Bentley,
it's
just to giggle at your comment, even with those cops that worked the case, they had no chain of custody. And
no,
Bev let
but
them all in without the chain of custody.
as I've said multiple times, if Karen Reed didn't have, she would have taken a plea deal because that's what they normally do. She would have gotten 10 years for manslaughter, but they saw this little woman and thought, I'm going to pin it on her. But she had the biggest kahunas in all of Massachusetts. And she said, I'm going to fight you every single step of the way. And now, a small, petite woman, along with a girl, yeah, I'm going to call her girl because she looks like a girl, is going to, I think, topple so many powerful people in Massachusetts because Karen had the stones, and sadly,
Yeah,
Sandra had to
what
lose
pissed
her life.
that's
But
what pissed them off about her photo being circulated the other day, is that she
yeah,
has that defiance. She's got her chin up and she's defiant. And that's what pissed them off because you can see that she had the kahunas. Just the way she was looking in that photo, she had the kahunas to stand up to them and say, "Yeah, I'm not taking it." I think they grossly underestimated her, and that's what they hate about her.
but couldn't it be the sweetest poetic just? I don't know. It'll be just as corrupt again in 10 years because that's how it goes. The system is sadly filled with all these people. But could you see Meatball Morrissey, Higgins, Bukaki, all of these manly men? I used to be a Marine and I like to play grab ass because that's what men do. Be taken down by two petite women.
Yep, yep,
Nothing would please me more. First of all, get justice for John O'Keefe by not sending his girlfriend to prison, and get justice for Sandra Birchmore by getting all of those sick, twisted Mr. Chippy aspirants into a prison. And remember to tell people what, who, and what they are. And and after that, clean up everything. Where's the governor? We don't know American politics, but the
yeah,
governor was really fast to do. Oh, you can't talk that way about a woman when the text messages came out. She has been absolutely quiet about everything since then.
yep. She's
Where is she on the Sandra
failed.
Birchmore case?
She's failing miserably.
Yeah,
Like I kind of feel I heard along the lines that Patrick dude that we were talking about earlier, the the sicko that used to be Boston Union dude, but she was the mayor then or something, wasn't she? Sorry, the governor. Sorry,
No, she wasn't a man. She
governor.
she she,
Let's say
she,
governor.
she's a gal who likes gals, but
And
she likes gals in uniform. So she has a lot of police girlfriends also. So and again, and people want to do this. Oh, it's because uh, she liked this motion, or it's because she's blue, or no. If a political animal had any sense, and I've been in local politics for 15 years, anyone could see this is a winning ticket. Fighting for those two women against that, she must get some kind of update. Unless she's way too in on it and the FBI is sectioning her out, she must get some updates. Her spin doctor should be fired if he hasn't gotten a good contact with the FBI. And she used to be the attorney general, so she has all the connections, but still, a political animal can see this is my re-election ticket, saying this is how police treat women in Canton. This is how,
especially because she's gay, like you would think.
yeah, yeah. You. That's why I don't understand why is she shutting up. It's because, in my opinion, in Minecraft, don't know anything. She's also, as an attorney general, maybe a little too friendly. And we talked about this yesterday on my channel too. That the problem today is the politicians is standing right next to the police officers, and the MEs are standing right next to the police officers, and all of them has this incestuous relationship, and everyone is kind of supposed to keep checks on each other and make sure that no one oversteps. But all of them goes to the same country club. All of them are now in a higher income bracket than most normal people. So they go to the same restaurants. They do the same vacationing. They see each other all the time. And yeah, Johnny, he's a bit rough around the edges, but oh my God, he gets so much done. So we'll do this whenever Johnny sadly again beats up someone, and then someone calls down and said, "Hey, I have someone complaining that you didn't charge Johnny because he again said, hey, do you want the crime rate down for your next election campaign? Sure, I do. Well, just tell Johnny he'll take 14 days with paid vacation and he'll get back to it because all of them are too tight. There's no one, what is it? Key, key ipso custodes, who watches the watchers. Isn't that how they said it in French, in Latin? They are all they're all in bed together. And
It's no
Morrissey
balances.
have run that office for 27 years or 21 years. Do you think anyone in that organization hasn't been suited, shaped into whatever that guy wanted?
Yeah,
That's a big problem.
yeah. Well, I've had this conversation with Abby. I think it was our last live stream about the politics getting in the way of justice. Like, I think that there
Yeah.
has to be a big separation between the two. I think the politicians shouldn't be appointing judges and involved with justice at all. I think that that needs to be independent from politics altogether. And
Well, the politicians makes the law, and the judges rules
as
on
opposed
basic of the politician. But the
to
politicians shouldn't
interpret,
be calling a judge and say, "Hey, I want this and
right?
that."
The judge's job is to interpret the law, not to get in bed with the politicians and play politics. So, I mean, that's just totally the other side of justice, as far as I'm concerned. Um, but we do have our judges aren't appointed here by politicians. Our judges earn their stripes here, essentially. But they're not appointed. Are they appointed in Denmark by politicians?
No, it's we have the judge. I don't even know. It's a subsection of the Justice Department, but it runs the courts, and then you start out. Most of them start out as prosecutors,
Yeah.
and and then they go on and apply to be a judge, and then they will tour around different courts and get to do all the stuff, and then they'll get a tenured position, and then they can go on to higher levels of courts.
Right.
But
That's how it
but
works.
also
Very similar. Yeah.
but our prosecution is also different because first of all, our DAs isn't appointed or isn't elected, so they don't have to make results every 4 years to get reelected, and
Yeah.
they don't have to get money to run a campaign. But they are also a separate part of because it's all part of the justice system. But you have the police here, and then you have the prosecution here, and of course they know each other, but it's not. They're situated different places. It's not the same. They are not sharing officers. I've been in court where the prosecutor yelled at officers for not being able to testify in cases where you're thinking, "Oh my God, really doesn't like that officer." So all of it is separate. And again, when I go in, I have the same power a judge have. We're three people in every trial I'm a part of. We're three people there, and everyone has one vote. And the two laymen can overrule the judge and say, "No, we don't think so." And we are also sentencing. You'll get the guidelines that normally for punching someone in the face, you'll get 40 days in prison.
Yeah.
And we can say, well, we want this, we want that. So we are along the way, all the way. And sometimes you get a bleeding fool like me. I said, oh, prison won't help anyone. And or sometimes you get a tough one. But we don't have that problem with jurors don't want to be there because, as they said in the Carly Gregg hearing, they get a whopping $25 a day. So jurors are always the ones who is too stupid to get out of jury duty. The prosecution and the cops have all the power and are in an incestuous relationship. How many trials have we seen where they offered plea deals to someone to rat on someone else? Again, you can't give anyone in Denmark a plea deal. That's such a. I covered a case where a guy was accused of unaliving his 5-year-old daughter. They gave a plea deal to the woman sitting right next to him in the car where he allegedly did it. The woman who helped him carry the deceased body around for months.
Yeah.
She got a plea deal, got out in 3 years.
Yeah.
He's going away for 2 times life or something like that. So
Mm.
we don't have that. You can't swip swap and well, you get this if you'll just sing about that one. So we don't have. I can see so many levels of corruption at the same time. The juries are the ones who couldn't get out of there, and it's just leads to a whole lot of a mess. And you can say, well, we have 12 guys and they have to agree. Yeah, but every single trial I have, someone will come in and say, oh, I'm having jury duty. How do I get out of it? Really easy. Just say, is it true you can make a jury nullification? I just heard that and I want to do it. You'll be shipped out faster than you can spell molasses. I don't know how to spell molasses.
How
But
does the jury rotation work there? So you've got permanent juries, and then
I
they're
have I'm elected for 4 years.
yeah.
In those 4 years, I am suspected to have 4 to 5 cases, and this can be a half-day case or it can be an 8-day case. We don't know that, but 4 of them a year. So normally you'll get your summons like a couple of months before, and then you'll get the name because if you know him, you have to call him and say, "My cousin plays football with him. I can't be a juror on that." And but if you don't know it, okay, you'll come to court. Then you get your the charges against the person, and you'll read. Okay, today it's 244. That's regular violence in Denmark. It's 244 because on and about blah blah blah. Someone punched someone in the face, and then you go in, do the trial, go in, do the deliberation, do the sentencing, go back and say, "Yep, you're going away for 14 days. Ciao." And and you have like 4 of them a year, and then because of my situation, I'm on the quick call list, so I have way more cases than normal because I'm the first one they call whenever someone's sick or going on vacation. So
So
I don't.
you can do your 4 years and then get re-elected for another 4 years.
Yeah, I'm on my 4th period right now.
Yeah, right. And then, so who elects you? Just your local people, the people in your local township or whatever.
I'm applying to the city.
Yeah,
The city then collects all of the
like
names.
same as the mayor getting elected.
Yeah, I don't know how the Aussie system works, but then the city then sends it to the state, and the state do the background check on everyone that you don't have, and it's really simple. The rules that you have to you can't have certain convictions, but it's actually you can be a former convicted person, and no problem in that. And then you'll wait 6 months, and then you'll get told, okay, you've been handpicked, and then you'll go another couple of sometimes it's like a month, and then you'll be told, okay, you are in city court or you are in uh, we call it country court, but it's not because it's not the entire country, but
Yeah,
and it's just the type of case, because the higher level is everything above 4 years normally goes there because you have more judges and more jurors. And I'm in city court, so we get all the drugs, all the violence, all the kid cases, sadly,
yeah,
all the spousal abuse, um, all the rape, all of those cases. And then sometimes we get, if you say I want a speedy trial, I just want a fast trial, so I'll go down to city level because it's faster.
yeah,
So I did a murder case, which normally would be on the higher level because he got 12 years, which all Americans saying, okay. But yeah, that's normal for a typical murder in Denmark. It's 12 years. And I had a case with a guy who abducted and raped a lot of women, which should normally also be kicked up, but he also wanted it as a fast trial. So I see most of it as petty crime, you would call it, probably like theft and drugs, and then
yeah.
sadly sometimes some of the bad apples jump in.
Right. And so, do you get like any kind of like formal training in?
Nope.
No. So you're just a normal juror like everybody else. You don't have any.
I'm a jury of your peers. I
Yeah.
am the regular Joe, and my job is to be the regular Joe. It's I remember a case where a guy was being accused. No, he claimed he was assaulted by the police at a certain nightclub, and when he told the story how he got his injuries, he said he was being thrown down some stairs. And then we saw the surveillance video of them, but you couldn't really see it. You can just see they were on him. And I said, well, he hasn't been thrown downstairs. And the judge said, why? I said, because that's on ground level, that part of the bar. I might have been there a couple of hundred times. Said, so he can't have been thrown down the stairs as he claims. So he's lying to us about that. So we're there to help the judge know stuff about the community, because judges in Denmark have gone to school for so long. They don't muck about with weird bakers like I
The
am. So
ordinary folk. That's what annoyed me about that. Uh, um, what was it? It was a paper written by two Australian lawyers. I had a bitch about this in my last live stream. Here I am bitching about it again. But they wrote this paper about how lawyers are elite and YouTube lawyers are making a drag in their, reputations down below elite. And it's kind of the same sort of thing. Like, we didn't used to have to knock around with the plebs, but now we do.
yeah, but I to do my due diligence and just make sure I had my ducks in a row for this. I goggled a little before I came on just to make sure I remembered the names and stuff like that. How many of the national television stations have covered Sandra Birchmore?
The National in America.
In the U.S., how much have you seen on ABC, Fox? How
Oh,
many people we have 300 people watching us now. I saw Melanie she had 2,500 people watching her.
yeah.
How many of you right now? I don't. Yeah, no, I can't do it. I put a poll up and ask how many of you watch MSN mainstream media for your news coverage today, and how many of you go to your favorite YouTubers to get updates on specific things. I would
Um,
bet most people who watches us are people who say we can't trust journalists anymore because journalists has become, as I said before, incestuous with the politicians. We had a Danish movie. It's way back, but it's actually. I tried to run for a national election once, and I was ahead of the local part of the party, and so I got in connection with the bigwigs, and it tells about how an internal powers battle goes in a party. It's fictional, but it's so rightly described how I saw it, with the spin doctors crumbing up with all the politicians because all the no, with all the journalists because all the journalists wants to be a spin doctor so they can earn the big bucks, and it's just incestuous. Danish media right now, um, they are covering that Arlington thing with Trump, which all the Gold Star family said we invited him. They don't care. They just say what Kamala Harris says, and I don't give a hoot about who wins the American election. That's for the Americans, but cover it fairly.
yeah,
Because why should I watch news if I can go on and talk with the expert for half an hour in the green room and I'll learn more about what's going on in America than if I watch television?
yeah. And I'm of much the same opinion. You know, there's just so much divisiveness with the mainstream media. I don't even watch it anymore. And I would love to run the poll that you just said, but I don't have any. I can't find any way to do a poll from here.
If
It
you
must,
have a window open with your YouTube chat, or if your son has that open, your control panel on YouTube. I
yep,
don't know if you down by the chat. There's a little plus.
down by the chat.
Yeah, and down in the right corner, where
Oh,
you can write in the chat, there's a plus. You can say start a poll, start a Q&A, and I can't remember what the last thing is because I can't do it when I'm just watching
right.
your stream.
I'm going
And
to
then you
hit.
just
I'm going to hit
put
the.
in.
I'm going to hit my mute button for 1 second because I've got the volume on with that, and it's going to screech through echoes. So give me 1 second. I'll run the poll for you.
Okay, what are we talking about then? Boom, 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 boom. Only YouTube for me with discernment. Yes, and of course, don't believe me. Always get 3 sources for your news. That's the same with all of these. Sandra Birchmore. I won't give you much more than what you could read yourself in all the papers because I don't live there. I don't only do one case. I right now I have 2 cases I'm about to start, and as a third case I might do. So I don't do the deep dives. I can tell you what's in the affidavit. I can tell you what's the headlines about it. But then there's Missy, who I'm trying to get something set up with. She has all the deep dive. It's the same with the Karen Reed. I can give you the helicopter view. Then you can go to Aiden or you can go to Mike at the Young Jerks to get more in depth because they are more focused on that. So always weigh your news. Who and remember, we are all biased. So we are also serving our truth. I had a big problem with. I don't know if any of you saw the Ashley Benefield, the Black Swan case,
Ashley
because
Benfield, yeah.
Ashley Benefield. Yeah, I had 75% believe she was innocent. Okay, I can't remember. Yeah, 75% believe she was innocent, and so did I. But 25% believe she was guilty, and I don't know. I just mean that's why I'm open about what I think. I think we need to, as creators, because we are bias machines as well, because we see it through our eyes. We need to tell, well, I believe this, instead of some try to be a little too fence city for me, and it could go both ways. And no, come out and say, I after watching the trial, I've seen this and that, or we all know the ones who just, there's an empty standpoint, let me jump on it, and Sarah Boone is being railroaded. No, she's an idiot.
Yeah, Sarah Bean's an idiot. I agree with that entirely. So is that what's that guy's name? Wade Wilson. What a freaking moron! Like
Never saw any of it. I was covering another case,
confess,
so
he
I
confessed all over the fucking joint, and then turns around and pleads not guilty. Like, and he's
did he
got he has
did
this
he
like
say it's not intentional? So that's the way to get out of it, I learned.
I don't know what he actually said, to be honest, because I don't think he got on the stand or anything. But I'm still watching how that case unfolded, to be honest. But I
Yeah.
heard his dad say, "Oh yeah, he rang me and told me about both women," and he was like, he got off on it, telling his dad what he'd done to those women, and then straight after that, his dad sent the detective. He said, "Send the detectives. I'll tell them where the second woman's body is." So that's how they found her body, because he told them. And then he went and pled not guilty and went through all of this trial and acted like he was innocent. And he's also got I can't remember what they're called, something wives. Just trying to think of what they call themselves. For some reason, it's jumped out of my head as well. But he's just got like a whole following, and they all call themselves his wives. I mean, it's just he's a good looking lad. There's no doubt about that. But oh my god,
Oh, that's the cult leader where the press was chucked out.
he looks like Deadpool, young fellow. He's like I said, he's quite a good looking chap, but he looks like Deadpool. But he's got a lot of facial tats. But
No, yeah, I thought you had moved on because I was watching another trial with a guy who run a cult, but because some YouTuber didn't abide by the rules, and I can't even remember who it was, press was thrown out. That was a cool case.
yeah,
He
no,
uh, he
I haven't
he
heard of that one.
sexually assaulted at like two or three women, and then he what was his name? Did he call himself God or something? He was. We see so many crazy people.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy people out there. The reason I started watching Wade Wilson is Dr. Berry did a sort of a psychoanalysis, I guess, of him. Actually, it might not. Oh, yeah, it was Dr. Berry. Um, there's been a lot of people who do psychoanalysis. So there's another guy called I'll think of his name. That jumped out of my head as well. Where does that happen when I'm on live streams? He's a forensic psychologist. So he does his analysis from a forensic point of view, like if he was being called in by the state or whatever to actually do a forensic analysis. So his shows are good. But yeah, I think it was Dr. Berry that did the Wade Wilson one, which was interesting.
Only two problems about that.
What?
They can't do that because none of them have talked to him. So that's against the Goldwater rule. They can't reach any conclusions about his mental health. So
Right. Right, and I don't think that they do as such. I don't think any of them come to a specific conclusion.
no, and of course
Very
they have
study.
they have. It's not like they're doing body language, which is absolutely bonkers. People believe in that, but
Yeah, I think the body language is a bit of entertainment. But
yeah.
the psychoanalysis, I guess, there is a certain point where I think psychoanalysis can stop serving its purpose, and it's just ridiculous after that point. But to the point of forensic psychoanalysis, like if you're going to, yes, Dr. G, Dina, Babe, Dr. Babe. That's why I forget his name, because his wife calls him Dr. Babe. And that's all I ever hear is Dr. Babe. Um, the forensic side of it is like profiling the killer, that he would be
Yeah,
a.
yeah. But again, yes, you can to some point. We are all grifters. Let's be honest. No matter what we do, because we like having people watch what we do. So we might not be grifting for money, but we grift for people to watch us. And some of these tactics used by some channels to get people to watch them, I just think they go a little too far with what they can explain because they have some sort of background. It's like I'm saying with the body language thing. No, you can't do a reasonable body language analysis on a person if you haven't got a baseline, and you don't get a baseline in a in a courtroom. It's like the guy who did a psychoanalysis on Johnny Depp by watching Pirates of the Caribbean and finding
Oh
out
my
he was a drunk.
God, that was so funny. But that's exactly the example that I would draw on too, where I say it can only serve so much of a purpose.
Yeah,
But that was what they said with him as well too, was that about the Goldwater rule, right?
yeah, that you can't without talking to a. But I think you can use some general thing. I studied a bit of psychology on high school level, and you can see some things that go. You can the general, like we are saying, the behavior in the Sandra Birchmore case. They show sign of the controlling part of a psychopath, and that's why I'm saying, okay, on that, I believe he has two personalities: one when he's at his wife, and one when he's with his victims. I don't have anything to have that stand on. That's why I'm saying I'm a grifter. I'm just putting this in here because I got an A in psychology way, but I can't prove it. I just say in what I've read, it lines up with all of that. So of course, if you have an expertise and can read stuff like this, yeah, you can use it. I know you're having Doctor, what's her name, Doctor
Very, very.
Doctor. Yeah, you're having her on, and yeah, you can go through all of the signs and you can read the text messages. Yes, and you can do a what could we call it, like a sketch of a psych profile. You couldn't go in and say, well, he clearly tortured animals when he was 5 years old because he spelled that way. You'll need to deep dive way more into his profile, like
No,
Dr. Mummy,
Dr.
who did
Berry's
all of those tests.
Dr. Berry's coming on to talk um about victim behavior and patterns. But Dr. Matthias is who I was referring to, is the forensic psychologist who does that kind of analysis that you were just talking
Yeah,
about, where he will say, I think he could be narcissistic traits because of X, Y, Z. And yep,
yeah,
yep,
yeah.
yep,
That lines up with narcissistic traits, and
yeah,
and 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 that's another thing where I'm saying those good grifters, they'll just sell you, saying, yeah, you can clearly see. That's what, when we go back to the media discussion we had before, I like someone saying, well, it have signs of this. That's why I like also talking law with Betterow, where he says, well, the law is like this and this, but it depends on this, and this. He's never just giving you this is the answer. I
yeah,
like people who says, well, I see this and I see that, and I think because you have to think yourself, and thinking is okay sometimes. I don't do it much, but I try.
yep, yep. So I do recommend you have a listen to Dr. Matthias, because he's not one to do the I can diagnose someone if I haven't seen them. He does a very general, these behavior types fit into these categories kind of deal. So in that sense, I actually do like him. So it's not Dr. G, it's definitely Dr.
No, Dr.
Matthias.
G is the body language guy.
Dr. G, the boy. Oh, I know who Dr. G is. He's a dickhead. Sorry.
Yeah, but I always make fun of him. So when you said Dr. G, I thought, are you
No.
sure? But I didn't want to because you said it fell out of your head. So I just thought, oh, you saw something in chat. I do that all the time, just make stuff up. But
Just make it up as you go.
no, but that's what I'm a grifter. I know. I just dislike the way that they sell you. Well, you can clearly see, by the way, he just took his right earlobe. That in fifth grade he had a knee injury, which gave him uh, pain through 4 months, which made him hate his mother. What?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's the ultimate grift, selling BS. It's like, oh, I read your horoscope. You're gonna meet a tall, strong, gentle, dark-haired
Yeah, right.
stranger.
Yeah. Um, I think the body language experts, I mean, they have a place on YouTube and it's entertainment. But what I think is annoying about it is that they try to pass it off as more than entertainment. You know, some of them are like, well, I trained the military and stuff. And it's like, yeah, and
Yeah, and,
what
and
is
they
that?
come into my chat, and well, they don't, but then someone comes in and said, "Hey, Dr. G said the way this guy is doing this with his eye shows clear sign that he must have done it. Why? He could just have something in his eye." Yeah, but Dr. G, I don't know Dr. G, and Dr. G doesn't know this person. And again, I just make stuff up all the time, and I that's why again we ramble. 30 minutes ago, when I said I like to declare early on what I feel about a case and what I feel about, uh, because it's always the standard innocent until proven guilty. But if I see something, I say something because I feel that's my obligation to my audience. I try to be not trustful, truthful. Uh, I might not always be. I might embellish a little bit, but I feel we as creators also have an obligation to be honest with our audience, not just sit here and think, oh, I'm gonna fleece them for another $5. Thank you so much, Julie Bestiardi, for the $50 super chat.
Yeah.
Uh, no, but I really, because we have an obligation, we're sharing a lot of. Luckily, we go to the bad places and come back to good places, and we take a lot of people with us down the line. And I think we should. I think we should be honest about how we see it, because there's a lot of grifters out there who just jump on. Oh, the bandwagon is going pro Karen Reed. I'm going to jump on that wagon because there might be $5 in it for me.
Yeah, that there's too much of that going on. I pulled away from true crime for quite some time for that reason, because people were just going with the, you know, whatever's the popular topic. But one of the things that annoyed me about it was always children. And so I've decided to draw that line that it's no longer children. I'm not going to cover cases involving children anymore. And you know, like Sarah Birchmore, she was a young adult, so that's as young as a case that I want to cover with children. But that's where most of the grifters are going now. They want to follow all the kiddies around, like they'll go and harass the families, and it's just horrible stuff. I'm sure you've seen plenty of it.
Yeah, but that's another thing, because that's such, and I don't get it. We talked a little bit about it before stream started. Sometimes you just get one of these cases. I did a case in Miss Shorty is basically God. Oh my. Um,
She is tonight.
but I covered a case where a young woman was an idiot, pewed an older guy, and he was black, she was white, and because I covered that, and I said, I just don't. I think it was stupid. I think she shouldn't have. But was she grabbing the pew, or whatever. Oh, then you're racist. I was, what? I never said she was allowed to do it because, and then I got a lot of, I still get called racist. Then I mentioned I didn't like the way they dressed Sarah Benefield because I don't like it when they try to make them as innocent and young and small as possible because I think the jury will see through it. So I think it'll backfire. Then I was a misogynist, and I had lied my entire way through the Karen Reed case. And yesterday, I stolen someone's work. In this case, it's I don't get all of this negativity, and everyone must toe the line and say the same thing. Why isn't it? You and I can have a discussion, and you don't want to read into all of this, and because you don't like doing all the deep dives on the kitty stuff, which I agree because I sleep with that in my head.
Yeah.
Um, but why can't we just talk about it and say, well, I think this and I think that, and we can disagree and agree, and Chad can sit there and have then a different opinion. I think way too much has become way too black and white. And we
That's
lose so much when everything is black and white. We lose all the nuances. Why don't we say again? Let me bring it back to Karen Reed. But that's a kind of a focal point all of us have. There were so many out there who yelled if you didn't think Colin did it, or if you didn't think it had something to do with some drugs, or if you didn't think that Higgins did it. And that's not the important part. The important part was Karen Reed didn't kill John O'Keefe. The rest, I don't, I don't know. I can't prove it. I'm not a police officer. I
yeah.
just don't know. All the evidence showed me she didn't do it. And I think a lot of us true crime adjacent people have an audience who we should also kind of say, hey, it's okay to disagree. As
It,
long as we agree with me, you can have all the opinions, just agree with me. And call me the biggest grifter so I can get on the grift list. I've been left off twice.
I've seen that going around that Baker keeps getting left off the grift. You're just not grifting hard enough. Like you're not in the class of grifters yet.
It's 11:52, and I'm sitting here doing my hardest,
Grifting. Grifting
and I
your
can't make
brains
the list.
out. Yeah, I haven't made the grifter list yet either. And, I was actually specifically asking for money. I was desperate there for a little while, Baker. Like, man, you wouldn't
Yeah,
believe,
that was
you wouldn't believe.
Crabiola.
Sorry?
That was Crabiola you got into there with your house. That was
You wouldn't believe the bill that I racked up. My God. Any shit that could go wrong in importing did go wrong. All the things that people warned me about before I started, like, because I had a customs agent, he knew everything that could go wrong. We covered all our bases. We spent a year covering all of our bases. So basically, December last year is when we started arranging with the supplier all the paperwork and everything that needed to be at this end before this shipment arrived. So from December through to a couple of weeks ago, that's how long we've been working on this to make sure that all the paperwork was in order. So it finally, he just sticks it all on the ship with no paperwork, and all we get at this end is the ship name. Like we got no paperwork at all. So we spend that whole time since December organizing paperwork. They're telling us, yeah, we're getting this organized, we're getting that organized. So we thought it was all done. So when it arrived here, customs is like, yeah, no, you haven't got any paperwork. So,
yeah,
and
and you can't do anything because that's the good thing about shipping stuff from China is it's cheap. The bad thing is you can't punch a guy in the face when you don't have the paperwork.
seriously,
That's
I feel like punching people today because it's
yeah.
$10,000 a bill now. That's what I racked up at customs, 10,000. So, it's actually 11,000. There's some of that's delivery. So, but yeah, 10 grand just because, old mate sitting there telling us, yeah, we've got the paperwork. We're doing it all the right way. We're following what you said. We're doing. And then right at the other end, when we realised that he hadn't done any of it, he's like, I never even knew we had to do that. I was
Yeah,
like,
and you can't do anything because it's in China and you have already put 50,000 down. So
yeah,
you need your stuff because that or no house. And and that's one of the problems with all of that. But hey, cover the Sarah Boone case. She said everyone covering it is going to be a millionaire, and then I'm going to move to Tennessee. I'm not getting cranky, Josie. I am just. Aussie knows I'm going to dip out in 5 minutes, so I'm not getting cranky. My eyes are just getting old and
no,
tired.
he's just venting because people have been mean to him for like a couple of days
Yeah,
straight. So he's just venting. Sometimes it
yeah.
helps to vent.
Jess has been mean to me for a long time, and if she's not mean to me, Jamie is or Marissa. It's like being married. No smexy time and a lot of yelling.
Yeah, it was. No, Baker's fine. He can vent all he wants on my channel. I'm quite happy for him to come over and vent if that's what he needs to. Like, I
No,
don't
I don't.
people
Am I
understand.
venting?
No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I don't think people understand though the constant barrage of that negativity. It might only be two people each day that are doing it, in amongst the multitudes of people who are awesome and paying you compliments, but that it's the constantness of the small bits of negativity. It's constant, it's all the time, it's every day. You have to field it every day. That is
yeah.
what.
And you see that one. You don't see the one where Miss Shorty comes in and said, "Oh, so glad you did this stream because I was on work and I had you on in the background." You don't see when Food Fairy comes in and says, "Banging hair today, dude." You just see that one who said, "You're an idiot," and that's weird because we shouldn't see it because there's a lot of people who like us, but
There's a lot of people who do the positive thing and say nice things, and but I think that's where I'm at right now, Baker, is that I don't see the other stuff. I just hit the off you go, hidden from the channel bin. I don't even see it anymore. I think you have to really make that decision though in your own mind that when you see it, you're just going to treat it this way, and then each time you see it, I'm going to treat it this way. So there was an early stage where I let the negativity get to me, but now I'm
yeah,
treating it very differently in my own head. So
I just put it in my mod chat and say, oh, "Look at this idiot," and then I get over it, and then we move on because that's another thing that I think a lot of people forget when they stream. Yeah, you might have a day, and there might be that one person, uh, Valhalla, who really ticked you off today. But there's still 73 other people sitting here wanting a good show and want to learn something about something.
yeah,
And they tuned in to listen to because they like you. That Valhalla tuned in or Aesop tuned in just to be a troll. Valhalla doesn't do that. Valhalla's a good guy. But Aesop, I can use him because he was a donkey head. But
yeah.
he just tuned in because his life is so sad. He needs someone to hate. But the rest of you, lovely people, and Aussie also lovely. It's 23:58, so I am gonna hit the hay.
No worries. Well, we appreciate you coming over to fill us in on the things that we were too gutless to do ourselves. You're our
Well,
hero.
we didn't really get into much of it, but just let's just say if you read it, it's a lot of great fantasies where she should age play very young,
Yeah,
very, very young. And it's been an ongoing thing. The two other officers, his not stepbrother, his twin brother and Divine, who were also partners in that police scout thing, We haven't heard anything about them so far, but that's because the crimes they have committed haven't risen to a to a federal crime unless they can get it like they because they got him on. It's kind of like the old Elliot Ness. How did he get Capone? By tax evasion.
Yeah.
So he could do a federal crime and get it out of the local court system. They did it by claiming wire fraud, by saying he was on the clock while he was uh, abusing this young lady. So he was lying on his pay stump, and the money that went into his salary account was sent from outside of state to a bank that wired it to him. So that's wire fraud.
Yeah.
That's kind of a smart way to get it. It's also a very scary way for the rest of you. They can always get you on a federal crime if they want to.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up because they can only get involved when there is a federal crime,
Yes.
and so
But they can look at the other one and say there's not enough here, but we have all of this, and then turn it over to someone. Maybe like they did in the Karen Reed case, they turned it over to the defense and say, well, we
yeah,
have all of this, which we think is
I was going to mention the two.
exculpatory.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but he's being held right now in federal custody until the 10th of September. He's going to have a hearing on the 10th of September. While I've been on here, Jess have sent me some stuff about another hearing. I didn't read it. I'll do it in the morning. But you're both truly amazing. Keep it up, the hard work. Oh, thank you so much, Dina. Do for 20. I know what that means. But he's been held on federal charges in federal pen. So far, his wife stands by him. The guy who unalived his mistress and went to the hospital and delivered his third kid.
Yeah,
I don't understand women like that.
She's standing by a guy.
Well, Proctor's wife did the same. Did you hear Proctor's sister got fired? Now we see Sleuthy Goosey. Hey, Sleuthy. Oh, well, she resigned. She didn't get fired. She resigns.
I did see that. Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Couldn't have happened to a worse person.
There's some consequences going down. Hell, Western crooked, and I'm here for it.
I am, as I said an hour ago, that tiny woman and her big old balloons.
Yeah.
Hopefully, will be the one who get Sarah Birchmore justice. Sandra Birchmore. I don't know why I call her Sarah. Sandra Birchmore justice.
Sarah Boone. I do it all the time too.
Yeah. It's because my head is filled with Sarah Boone right now. But justice for John O'Keefe and for Sandra Birchmore will, in my opinion, happen because of Karen Reed. And because of all you wonderful people who have supported Karen Reed, who have stood outside today on the national, what did you call it? Free Karen Reed Day with signs. I know it's been all over the world. I had a person reach out and ask if we should do one in Denmark. Sadly, I had a meeting today, so I couldn't kind of follow up on it. I know there's in Australia. It's just amazing to see how much people have donated to her. Did you see that Kathy Daffy was out there shaming her for having money, and then she did a fundraiser? How much do you think it costs to defend your life from a corrupt state?
Yep.
But
was annoying the crap out of me, and that's why I actually put her in the ignobian before she got to do it to me. I did it ages ago because I couldn't stand watching her threads. Her threads are just so annoying. She doesn't really have anything. Her contributions aren't even.
No, it's kind of like Mark said on my show yesterday. They always talk in absolutes because they can't defend what they're saying. So it's always, well, she admitted it on national television. Where? It was in the national television. No. If you listen to that clip, she said, I hit him. That's way different than saying, I hit him.
That's right.
And
can.
any normal person can hear
She's
that, but they can't
comfortable.
discuss anything.
She's comfortable removing the context because of confirmation bias. You
She
take that.
needs it because if she, that's, and now she's on the Fed side, the Feds who couldn't do a crime reconstruction 4 weeks ago. Now she's on their side because she's going to spin the Sandra Birchmore into more television time for her on court TV. Let me just end by this. I don't understand why every time I see her show, she looks kind of like this.
She looks like she's on some sort of medication. Like she slurs. It's like, okay. So I have
She always looks surprised
fam-
that there's a camera.
I have a
Like she's,
family
oh,
member who pops her medication and then drinks a wine after it, and she turns into a fucking psycho. And the eyes go, and it's coffin down. And if you just watch her streams, that's what you're looking at.
yeah, but it's that constant, like she's just sitting there thinking, why is that light on up there? And since she's just saying, I'm sorry to say it, Plevin sounds smart next to her. At least he tries to spin a truth out of nothing. But I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole because it's 8 minutes since I said I was leaving. So instead of doing the Iris goodbye, no, who is it? We call it doing the ninja when we just pop off without saying goodbye when we're drunk.
Oh, the Irish exit.
Iris exit. Well, in Denmark, it's called doing the ninja because
Doing
you
the
just vanish. But everyone, thank you so much for having me on here tonight. Aussie, always a pleasure to talk to you. And
Likewise, Baker.
I love talking to you. Our squirrels run in the same direction sometimes.
They do, don't they? It's been a pleasure to have you, and thanks for joining us and staying up so late. We really appreciate it. And join us tomorrow night for Dr. Berry.
And can I plug something?
Yeah.
Because my internet craviola today, I will read the last 58 pages of inmate reports about Sarah Boone, who the last message was, I don't like those hair braiders. Put in that what you want. Our Sarah is an R word. And I can't figure out how to jump out of. That was when I was supposed to do. Oh, I found the leave button. So our Sarah is an R word. And I thought I disliked her before that, but now she's like that. No Dr. Pepper from me. See you.
See you later, Baker.
This is the worst stream ever. I can't do a fast exit. I have to press. Use StreamYard. Like do my patented. I'm just going to leave in the middle of a sentence where I say something absolutely stupid, but
Do
I
a
can't
couple
do.
tapper.
It's so annoying that I just have to sit here.
Oh, that's funny. I want to say thank you to Karen Cole for being really helpful tonight. You have been so helpful and filling us in on how to do stuff. Thank you heaps, Shorty, for helping Corey Mod tonight. Causa, thank you so much for bailing us out earlier on. What am I missing? I'm sure there's someone else. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining us. And I don't know, my mind's gone blank. I went for too long, so my brain's like blankety blank, blank, blank on me. But thanks for everyone for joining us. And then tomorrow, same time tomorrow, we've got Dr. Berry. And hopefully I won't go blank on her too much. But he's pretty good at filling in the blankety blanks. So I'll try not to do that to Dr. Berry tomorrow night. Or morning for the Aussies out there. Go to bed, Baker. All right. I'm signing off now because my brain's not functioning anymore. I'll talk to you all tomorrow night. Be good, guys.